Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building, an icon, a legend, Babyface. Welcome.
Yo, what's up, man?
How's it feeling?
Good, man. I'm good.
He walked in with the guitar, so that feels like we're going to get something special.
They told me to bring one. I don't know. So
They told you to do it?
Yeah, they told me. It's not like I said, I want to bring a guitar.
I thought you said. No.
Sounds just to be traveling around, but since you asked, I'll bring it.
But you got Girls Night Out now. I'm excited for this. So
Yeah.
You started off with Angie Martinez, Girls Night Out, makes sense, Ladies Night.
Mm-hmm.
And Lala, and they're getting ready to go out, and that's how the album starts. What made you decide to do that?
With Lala?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was fun because it's Girls Night Out, and we just wanted something to, start off the project and make it a party to begin with. It's all about the girls anyway, so.
I want to back it up if you don't mind for people that don't know who Babyface is. Of course, I grew up on Babyface. My mother did. My father did. My parents did. What got Babyface into music? Let's start from the beginning for people that don't know who Babyface is.
What got me into music? First song I wrote is because I fell in love with this girl in 6th grade. So I wanted her to know that, I was in love with her. I never played her the song, but that didn't matter. It was just I wrote the song for her. So that made me want to pick up a guitar. My brother had a guitar in the house, and so I picked up the guitar specifically to learn how to write this song. And I wrote this song called Here I Go Falling in Love, and that started it.
And how did it continue on? Because, we all, I wrote a rap, but I didn't say I wanted to be a rapper.
You did put out some rap albums.
No, I wasn't actually rapping. I was DJing. But so what made you want to take it serious and be a musician at the time with so much going on?
It was kind of in my blood. I started there, and then my brother Melvin, who was in After 7, he's not with us anymore, but he was a great singer, and he had a band, and I just kind of used to watch him and his band play. And then he asked me to sing Who's Loving You one time in a homecoming that he had at high school, and I did that, and I kind of got in my blood. And the first act I saw was Jackson 5. Saw them do the Coming Back to Indiana tour, or Going Back to Indiana, and I saw them on stage, and it was over at that point because at that point, they were big as hell, and it was just like seeing them in my hometown, which was Indianapolis. And to see them on that stage, it was something that I wanted to do.
And most musicians, a lot of musicians, I should say, they're artist mode all the time, right? They want to be an artist. They want to be in front of the camera, on stage, in front of the lights. But you also took it into writing as well. What made you say, you know what, I'm going to write for some of these people and produce for some of these people? Because you could have kept it all for yourself and your brothers and your band.
I never felt like the star anyway. I just kind of felt like it was, I only wanted to do it for the love of music and to write it in the first place. So I wasn't trying to be the main one. Even when I saw the Jackson 5, I didn't want to necessarily be up on that stage. I just wanted to have a piece of it, be a part of it somehow.
Is it hard when you write songs for other people and they don't sing it like how you kind of interpreted it or how you feel like you heard it?
Well, usually, since I get to produce it, I can usually get them to do it the way I kind of imagine. And they usually will. They usually take it a little bit further than I would have.
I saw you say End of the Road. You originally were going to keep that record.
Yeah.
Are you mad you didn't keep that record?
Nah.
That was huge.
Yeah, it was huge, but if it wouldn't have been huge if I did it. So,
Maybe.
Nah.
And how do you tell an artist like a Michael or Boyz II Men or anybody else that you work with, like, nah, do that over? Because, artists are sensitive. They're sensitive about this shit.
It depends on how you tell them. Because as long as you're giving them praise on the other things they do, then they'll trust you enough to try something else.
Who was the most difficult to tell them that you had to sing again or that they were wrong or something didn't sound right? Who was the most difficult because they just knew they were great?
Damn. I don't know. I usually don't get fights. But I can't. Some people you don't even get the chance to say they're difficult because they end up doing it themselves. Right. So it's not really. And if I usually run into that problem, I would rather they do it themselves and then kind of critique it, long distance.
Gotcha.
What happens when you write a song that is, you write a song but more than one person wants it? Like, how do you decide, okay, I'm going to because some of the songs I'm sure that you've written, like maybe you gave it to this person, they didn't respond fast enough, and then someone else got it, and they're like, no, I want that song.
Well, there was one song in the beginning that I ended up, giving to another artist, and actually LA got blamed for it, but I was the one that actually did it.
Can We Talk?
Nope.
Oh.
It was Girlfriend.
Pebbles?
Yep.
Okay.
That was, so initially we had a deal, we were supposed to do a thing with Vanessa Williams. We had 3 songs that we were going to do on Vanessa Williams. And then we met with this lady, Cheryl Dickerson, at a Universal at the time, MCA. She said, you guys should meet the boys and you should meet Pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
And we went over and met Pebbles, and Pebbles played Mercedes Boy.
Do you want to ride
Yes.
a Mercedes?
Pebbles had, you know what's great about Pebbles? She was very, I don't even want to use this word, it sounds corny, but sassy.
She was sassy, and we
Yeah.
thought she was rich because she had champagne and stuff in her session. We never had champagne in our sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And she had fruits and stuff and so we looked at her and so I thought, wow, she's like famous already. And so then she played Mercedes Boy, which was like, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And as she was talking, as she was playing, then I thought the song Girlfriend was already written. And it wasn't written for anybody specifically, but I had already written it. And then I said to LA, I said, she's Girlfriend. That's who Girlfriend is. And he was like, yeah, but we already put it on Vanessa. I said, yeah, but this song belongs to her. And I've always been a believer that the song comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And the song should go where the best artist. And I thought that she was the best artist for it. She was Girlfriend. So ultimately we snatched the song back.
Poor Vanessa.
LA started dating Pebbles, so they just figured that Pebbles in LA, it must have happened that way.
It was your fault.
It was actually my
It was
fault.
really your
And
fault.
I take the blame.
Well, it was a good call.
It was a good call.
It was a great
It was the right call. The song was supposed to go where it was supposed to go.
I wanted to ask, like, with a song like Can We Talk, right? Huge record to this day, right? In
Yes.
all genres, young, mid, old, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So when you're working with a new artist and you have that record, and I'm sure when you did that record, you're like, oh, this is it. Do you have any reservation, like, maybe we shouldn't give it into this young whippersnapper, which Tevin Campbell was at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe we should give it to somebody that's already seasoned. Do you ever have those reservations?
Not really. It all depends on the voice. If somebody has that voice and has that, gives it a good feeling, then you think that's ultimately what you want. You can give it to somebody that's seasoned, but doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna pull it off the same way. And that song was just kind of right for Tevin at the time. And I know there's this whole thing on Usher and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be Usher's song. And the reality is I wrote it specifically for Tevin because Quincy Jones had asked me to, work on this project. And I had already did one song called I'm Ready. And he called me, Quincy Jones called me, and he was excited and said, can I get another one? I was like, I'm going to give Quincy Jones another song because it was Quincy. So I ultimately wrote that with Daryl Simmons. And we wrote Can We Talk? And it was for Tevin from the get-go. And the whole stories that kind of happened around it, not true, just it was specifically for Tevin at that time. And that's that.
The rumor has it was supposed to be for Usher, and Usher never got it, or for whatever.
Yeah, I know, and that went for a very long time.
But that's
Well,
not
there
true.
you
No
are.
truth.
Here
That
to
is
say
not
now.
the truth. Final, that's not the truth. It was ultimately, from the beginning, written for Tevin and went on Tevin. I think after the fact it was done, I think LA definitely wanted to have it on Usher, but
Sure.
it was too late. It was already done.
Do you remember how much you were charging back then for records to write records?
Nope. Can't. I know for the whole Vanessa thing, for 3 songs, I think we're gonna get $12,000 for 3 songs.
$12,000.
$12,000 for 3 songs. We was happy.
And you guys were excited for that.
We was excited.
Yeah.
We was excited about that, and then, but Peb's manager at the time, he offered us 15 for one, so
Went that route.
it went that route.
Nah, I'm
Think
not
about it.
sure.
Drake recently posted his opening for Ice Cube. He got $100. He posted
Yeah.
recently that check. That's amazing. Like to see where you started, and then as the money starts to increase, to levels that you never would think imaginable.
Yeah, no question. Well, coming in music in the first place, I wasn't even thinking about money.
Mhm.
It was just wanted to hear my songs on the radio. That's all you thought about. You didn't think about buying no house or buying no cars or anything like that. That wasn't the thought. It was really just about the music. And I think it's changed nowadays. It's really about
The money now, the business
it's
part.
about the money. And there ain't nothing wrong with that, though.
So was Two Occasions the first big song? Or what was before
I think
that?
the first big song placed in terms of that I did was a song called Slow Jam that was with Midnight Star. And then after that, the first like charting song was probably Rocksteady that we did with The Whispers.
The Whispers. Wow.
I was gonna ask, then you were so popular, hip hop artists started calling you and asking you to do records for them. Do you remember your first rapper or hip hop artist that called and said do a record, and what were your thoughts when they called?
I don't clearly remember. I just know I did this one record for this artist I wasn't very familiar with, and they said he was going to be really big. And I think he had an album out already, but he said he was going to be really big, and I did this hook for him, Sunshine.
Jay-Z.
Exactly.
Jay-Z. So you didn't know who Jay-Z was?
I
when they
wasn't
called?
really familiar with him, no.
But did you go in the studio with him to record that record?
Yeah, I went in, and honestly, I think he was there. I'm not sure he was there because I didn't really know him. I was like, yeah, I do this. It was a favor. So
who called you if you didn't have no idea?
I feel like Andre Harrell called again.
And you were Babyface at that time, so you was like, who is this called? What, rapper?
No, I never had this. I was never Babyface, if you know what I'm saying. I never looked at myself as like Babyface. So it never. So if I knew somebody and they called and want me to do something, then I'd do it.
Now let's talk about the iconic Waiting to Exhale soundtrack and how that happened, because that soundtrack, and I really think in particular back then, like soundtracks were so important, but that's probably one of the best soundtracks to this day ever.
Well,
So how did you work on that? How did all of that happen? What was the process?
I got a call from Forrest Whitaker, and who called me, and I think everybody
just calls you Babyface. You know that they like Andre Harrell. Listen, all you gotta do is call him; he'll do it.
No, but I was surprised I got a call from Forrest Whitaker, and I was excited that he wanted to meet with me, and everybody was chomping at the bit to do Waiting to Exhale, But as a soundtrack, everything about it, everybody was hoping to get it. Then Forrest Whitaker called me, and I didn't know he was directing the movie at the time, and he told me I'm getting ready to do this project and Waiting to Exhale. I said, really? And he said, I'd love you to do music, and I'd also love you to score it as well. And I hadn't done that, scored it, or written all the music for a film, which was, I was glad to definitely write the music. For the scoring, I was a little afraid of. And he said, no, you can do it, and I'll walk you through it, and we'll get this done. And so it was really Forrest that kind of called it for me to do it. And then as we were doing it, I thought it made a lot of sense for it to just be all girls. And initially, Whitney, since it was a Whitney film, you thought, okay, great, we get Whitney to sing. But Whitney initially wasn't going to sing. It wasn't any guarantee that she was going to be on it.
But then she knew it was you, and I know she trusts you.
Yeah, she trusts me. But even then, because I had met with her and I asked her, are you going to sing? She said, I don't know, babe. I don't know if I'm going to do this yet. And so I was like, I wasn't writing anything for her. So everything initially was all songs written for all the other artists. And then finally she had said she would sing, and that's how Exhale ultimately was written. And I started to write it, but I didn't finish it. And that's how it ended up with Shoop Shoop instead of a full chorus in it, because I hadn't really thought it all the way through.
You didn't think it all the way through?
Like, we got to get this done. She's in the studio now. Just say Shoop Shoop.
Shoot, which is very catchy. Now, I want to go back to Versus, right?
Yeah.
Versus opens you up to a whole younger demographic.
Yeah.
So how has that been? Because, I remember the first day, you and Teddy, y'all were trying to figure out your Wi-Fi problems and getting on. And
Your Wi-Fi was good.
Yeah, your Teddy's was a little crazy. So how has that been, opening up to a whole new demographic of people that probably didn't know who you were at the time, but now are so into you?
Yeah, I think that was no question the turning point. I think that it was first I was scared as hell, or nervous as hell anyway, doing that as we were doing that, because I didn't.
You had so many hits.
It's the weirdest thing, because you're sitting here watching the phone, and ain't nobody else in there, and so why should you be nervous? Because you don't know you don't know if anybody's on the other side or not. But the whole idea of going up against Teddy, because Teddy had a catalog.
Yeah,
Teddy got a catalog.
Yes, he did.
He just didn't plan it out right.
Right.
He could have got me. He just didn't plan it right.
Chilling.
And I was like, I was prepared. We were prepared to come at him. Every song he played, okay, you got that, I got this, got this. And so, that's how I ended up doing I knew one song he would play, I knew I couldn't beat it. That's why I ended up pulling the guitar out and did the When Can I See You, because I knew I couldn't beat when he went to the remix with SWV. I was like, I ain't gonna be able to beat that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun in that sense, but I didn't want to do it in the first place.
Why not?
Because I didn't want to compete like that. I thought I didn't like the idea of that. Mm-hmm. And it was Andre Harrell who talked me, once again, Andre
Harrell
called me again and talked me into it. And I'm glad that I did it. Because when I did it, it changed everything. Because I went from Instagram followers from overnight from 300,000 to over 1 million. And
the streaming numbers
and everything, it kind of changed to where I started seeing younger people that were into me. I went to Walgreens and was in there. This is still during COVID times. I had a mask on, and the girl says, "I know who you are. I can see you under that." They said, "I watch Versus, and I just want to tell you I'm a big fan." And she was like 18 years old.
Wow.
And I said, "Okay, that's interesting." So, which brought up the idea. Rika, who's my partner in this on Girls Night Out, she kind of came to me and said, "What you need to do is do another project, not exactly Exhale, but a project with the younger R&B girls again. And this time, you should write it with them, and they write with you, collaborate, so it can feel natural in that sense." And so that's what I ended up doing.
And how was that, getting all those different attitudes, all those different people, all those different moments?
It was great because every girl had their own thing, and everybody wrote on the song. We actually collaborated together. So we just walk in the studio, and then I say, "So what's going on in your life? What's going on? Are you happy? You sad? You in love? You're not in love?" And everybody kind of would talk about whatever's going on.
Man, I thought about that right while I listened to the album, and there's a lot of things. Like, what would you say when it comes to what's going on in women's lives? Was it kind of a theme in this album? Because I feel like LMA in love.
Yes.
Butterflies still coming.
Yeah.
But then I listen to some of the other songs.
Exactly.
And I'm like, Coco Jones, she's jaded.
Yep.
She doesn't believe in love.
Yep.
And then you hear Kalani.
Yep.
And she's like, "You mad at me for breathing?"
Yep.
And then you hear Baby Tate, "Don't even think about it."
Yep.
And you hear stuff like that. And she's got problems with commitment. Do you feel like, sometimes when you're getting creative and writing in the studio, it's easier to tap into more of those type of emotions?
I mean, that's true, but this is also a sign of where we are today. Because, it was a time when, we would sing about love and women would sing about love and being in love. And now it's a little bit, everybody's more independent. And these girls, they got their own, they like, "I ain't taking this, and I'm not going to, and I'm going to say how I feel, what I feel, and how I feel." And that was the cool part about the process, because every girl that came in was very independent and very strong, and a lot different than before. And, plus I was writing the songs before, so it was completely what I imagined they might say. So they were saying exactly how they felt.
You're like, "This is how women really feel."
Yeah, they're like, you might have thought it was love, but no, it ain't.
What did you learn?
I learned that, besides musically, just learning how to flow differently, how the lyrics flow, how the melodies flow. Everything's not on top of the beat; it's behind the beat. It's everywhere. It's all about feel at this particular point, and just from their perspective of life is a lot different than it was, say, in the '90s girls, our '90s people. Period. Relationships. Period. Everything's a lot more toxic, but that's like.
It's a lot more
today.
access. Like Money Long and her song, The Recipe.
Yes.
She's going through your phone.
You
didn't have to worry about that back in the day.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things you have to worry about back in the day. But Money came in there and killed it, too.
She did.
Oof.
What I like about her, it's not so surface, like what she's saying, because she's like going through your phone. But at the same time, she's like, "I don't want to leave, though."
Right.
I still want to work it out. I don't want to be here without you, but
yeah,
that's a real thing.
Money's a great writer, and that was, like I said, that was a great one to do. But everybody that came in was writing great. So, and the funny thing is that we really just did it, every song, in one day. So we basically came in, wrote it, and recorded it on that same day.
Who surprised you the most in the studio out of all the artists you work with?
There kept on being surprises. Like I knew Money Long was great, but I didn't know that she was that great. I didn't know she could blow like she could blow. And I knew that some surprises were Tiana Major 9. I heard her voice before, and then when she came in, I realized how rich her voice really is. It's like, this girl's really good. And then Coco Jones surprised me.
Yeah.
Like, where'd this come from? Baby Tate, who was more of a rapper, who came in singing. So
I know, I was surprised with that one. That was dope. I was like, Baby Tate, and her song is dope.
So it's a lot of there were surprises with everyone, because everyone came strong, and it was honest, you know.
You know what I think? Did you film like any of your conversations?
Oh, we filmed it all.
Because I feel like it sounds like a podcast series, because like you said, they come in, they talk about what's going on in their lives right now. I even think about you and Ari Lennox on Lip Service, and you kind of making her think about her responsibility in relationships not working out, and reflect on those things. But just to hear what they have to say, where they are in their life, I'm sure that's also kind of therapeutic. And you're talking to Babyface about it.
Yeah, I don't know about the Babyface part, but I'll just say that if you just get in there, you just start having conversation, and you just chill, everybody gets chill, and just kind of just start talking about it, then, you know, you relax, then it just opens up, and you can get a sense of where you should go musically or not, you know, or what you should talk about. Some people want to talk about things and some people don't. First time I worked with Whitney, I remember I played her the song "Why Does It Hurt So Bad," and she heard that. She goes, "I can't sing that." It's like, I don't know anything about that. I would never be that kind of person. So there's no reason for me to sing that. And then she sang it on XL years later. Unfortunately, she learned about it.
Right.
But initially, it is about, you know, whether it's something you can feel or not, or whether, you know, and how honest you want to be. And I think for the most part, most of the artists, they want to be honest about their truth of who they are. No one's hiding from anything at this point. They're just kind of like just giving it for whatever it is.
Now, you know, Diddy recently came out and said R&B was dead, and it was trending, and people were mad. R&B artists were mad.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it, especially since you just did a whole Girls Night Out album, R&B album?
Yeah, R&B is never dead. R&B is it's in everything that we do, and it's in every new artist. I mean, Kehlani has been killing it for a very long time. You have Giveon, you have pieces of R&B in
Lucky Day.
And Lucky Day. You have R&B in Steve Lacy.
In Vegas is killing
it.
Yeah,
R&B is everywhere. And also you have R&B in pop artists too. It's like, don't think that Justin Bieber, you know, that's not R&B. That's not those producers and those people that give those songs. That's still part of R&B. R&B will never die, because it's in so many things. So I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
You just named a lot of R&B guys. So does that mean there's going to be like a guys' night out?
I don't know. Maybe.
You should do a Guys Night Out. Absolutely, positively.
The Hangover.
And I was going to ask, is there any song that you wish you redid that you hear now, like, I wish I did this different? Or
that's why I don't listen to the radio. When songs come on, I usually won't listen to it, because I will reproduce it in my head and be like, damn, I should have did this. That could have went for this note. Could have made it a little bit better. So I try not to listen to things, and I'll turn the station if I hear something, or if somebody's listening to stuff, then I just don't try not to pay attention.
When you and L.A. Reid had LaFace, and you guys had so much success, why did you guys say, okay, we're done with the label?
The label ultimately was, in terms of the label part, it was just that kind of time for L.A. He wanted to move on, and he got an offer to run Arista. And we ultimately we were building LaFace to hopefully one day sell it, and, you know, and we got that chance because LA was able to go run Arista. I think that's why we were able to actually sell it at that point. I don't know if we would have been able to do it any sooner than that, but it ultimately we ultimately put it there, and he went on and ran Arista and other things as well.
Out of all the artists that you signed on LaFace, who was some of your favorites because you just really found that raw talent and really made them to who they are today?
Say again now?
All the artists that you signed on LaFace, who was one of your favorite artists that you found, and you love watching that journey to who they are today?
I think that It's a little hard to answer because it's so many artists that we touched where you didn't imagine that their careers would go where it would go, you know. From even starting with TLC, where, you know, those girls.
What gave you the vision for TLC? We're gonna go through something like TLC. When they came to you, the way that they looked, the different clothes, the singing, the rapping all together. What made you say, that is the group?
Well, TLC was actually brought in through Pebbles, and that was and she had a vision for them, and then when she brought them, it was kind of clear to see. And at that point, Chili wasn't even in the group yet, and Chili actually was a background dancer for Damian Dame. And when the three of them came together, then it just seemed kind of obvious. It just felt new, it felt fresh, and Dallas Austin kind of worked on the first records with them, and it was so clear that there was something there. And then Dallas doing the work helped to make it easier for me to see what kind of music to do on them as well. And then there was obviously Toni Braxton, which was in Toni was in the girls. She was had the group herself with the Braxtons.
Yep.
We pulled her out of the Braxtons because she had this voice. And
how difficult was that, making her leave her sisters?
It was kind of difficult. It was a family affair, and they didn't really want that to happen. But I felt like she was a star by herself initially.
They always call you guys the perfect pairing musically.
I think that the thing that hit me about Toni was all this pain that she had in her voice, and I love to write from pain. So when I heard her voice, I said, listen to that pain. It's like, you know, that's something great, you know, something to work with. And it just all the things kind of fell together right, because, you know, Toni ended up getting songs that weren't actually even meant for her, that she, you know, they were written for Anita Baker at first. From the Boomerang soundtrack, we wrote Love Should Have Brought You Home.
Love Should Have Brought Your Ass Home.
Yep, and that's exactly. And that was we wrote that for Anita Baker, and she turned it down and said, y'all should let that little girl do it. That little girl do it. That little girl that did the demo.
Why did she turn it down?
I don't know. She didn't like it, I guess. Okay. It didn't hit her. It didn't seem like it was something that she wanted to sing. And then I think we sent her another one, like, You Mean the World to Me. And she turned that one down too, so Toni got that one too. So she's like, no, baby, I don't want to do that one either. Let that little girl sing it.
Do you ever did you ever get offended, like when you like, this is a hit?
I got turned down. No, I got turned down many times of singing a song. So you never get offended.
That's good. That's a good ego lesson for people to understand. That even Babyface might submit a song it's not personal.
Let that little girl sing it.
Exactly. Yeah. Let some other little girl sing it. But yeah, I mean, you spend a good piece of your career people turning down songs they don't think it works for them. So, and that's fine.
Now you had the Claire Burner Boys last.
What's that?
You had the Claire Burner Boys record, African artist that redid Toni Braxton's song over.
Right.
So when they brought it to you, do you automatically care? Like, what's your process in clearing records?
For the most part, when people are trying to sample or do any piece of your records, you could have an ego on and say, no, I don't think that's happening, or that's. But at this particular point, I think that you let creativity go, and let everybody go for it, as long as it's not junk, you know. But sometimes, how do you know what's junk and what's not junk? Because there would be some things I would hear in my whole life where I said, why is this a hit? And rather than being judgmental on it, I just listen to it harder to figure out what everybody loves about it. And I think, okay, that's what it is.
Y'all cleared that record. Did y'all know who Burna Boy was? Did you know he was an African artist?
So which record? That wasn't actually my record. It was on LaFace, but it wasn't didn't write the record, so I didn't have to clear that one.
Gotcha.
And then sometimes you get surprised where someone does a record. What was that? Blueberry Fago.
Vandross?
What was it? There was a huge song a couple of years ago that they did pulled a My sample out, and it was crazy. And I never approved it. I didn't know I did, and I found like I didn't approve it.
You didn't?
No.
So do you just wait for it to get big and be like, oh, I'm gonna get this money back soon?
Well, yeah, so somebody at the publishing company, they usually go get it.
They handle it. That's their money too. You know what? I want to ask you this since you just brought up publishing, because people always have these conversations about publishing deals. Should you sign them? Should you not? You know, and we see a lot of these artists getting, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars, the big ones, to do these deals. What are your thoughts on signing publishing deals?
On signing publishing, if a beginning artist signing, it's hard to call. In some cases, if you're a prolific writer, it's great if you can hold on and not do a big deal with someone because it could be worth a lot. But you never know. And at this particular point, you know, cash is king. So if you can grab that money at this particular point, then it's okay. But know that that's it. You know, if you got to roll with it for a little bit. So it's changed over the years, and in some cases people get a lot of money for it. In some cases they don't. So it's hard to call. What
was your first publishing deal like?
Didn't have one to begin with. Our publishing was just taken because we signed up to the record company. So it was like they take it automatically. You didn't get any advance or anything. So we've been through it all.
Damn, that sounds. Because I was listening to you talk, and I'm like, I wonder if, being that you have family that was already doing music, you know, your brother was in After 7, did you have more knowledge about the business?
Yeah, I was in it before. Actually, I was in the business before my brother was officially, and so I ended up bringing After 7 into the business. But I think initially, back in those days when you start out, you know, you got to roll with what happens. And so if the record company's going to take half, then, you know, and you want to get a deal, then that's what it is. And everybody went through. I'm sure Teddy and we can all give you horror stories on publishing things. So as it started back in the day, but it's gotten a lot better these days. And kids, you know, it's a whole different game at this particular point. And it's not even all about the music. If you're a star, then you can make so many money so many other places, and it's not really just about the music. So it's a whole different game today.
Ever in the industry, was there ever a time where money was low or you became broke? Did that ever happen after you were successful in the industry? Because you always hear those stories.
Where money is low and
maybe you went too many private jets, too many Louis Vuitton sunglasses. Who knows? Too many chicks.
Oh, did he just take a stab at you?
He took a stab. Yeah.
You buying too many bags. You know, you never know. Is there ever a point like that?
Yeah, there's a point where you don't make as much as you used to make, and so you got to keep that in mind. And then you work hard to make more. I always, whenever someone asks that question, I say, well, you just got to start writing more hits, you know, and put in the time to make that happen, and be smarter in what you put your money into. But I think initially it always changes, and people should always look at the money doesn't always keep coming. At some point, people don't play the songs as much as they do, so you don't get the same performance. You know, the same money doesn't come at it, so you have to always consider that. And that is a forever thing. And there are some kids that when they come out hitting it so hard, they don't realize that one day it slows down. It might not stop altogether, but it slows down. So you should be careful.
And I wanted to know too, like, how much time do you spend in the studio? Did you ever get to a point where you're feeling yourself so much, right? Everything's coming in, you be like, oh, I'm taking a month off of the studio. I'm gonna enjoy the fruits of my labor. Has that ever happened, or you always were like a studio rat?
I've always worked, and always, because I didn't look at it like work, so it was always a joy to be in the studio and write. And it's not always, you don't always have to be in the studio to write, so you can always do that. But there's never a point where you feel like you can just take off. So if you're not in the studio, then you're out on the road or doing other things. But always something musical, something attached. It's just part of, as a musician, it's kind of one of the things you want to do.
Gotcha.
You know.
How big are you on always writing for yourself? Do other artists write for you when you put out your own projects?
Sometimes people write for me. I don't usually. I'll write together, but when someone hands me a song, I don't usually do that.
Have you ever done a song that someone just handed you?
So Teddy calls you up and says, I got this song for you. Or you know, Quincy or Andre Harrell say, hey, you need to take this song from somebody.
Yeah, it's so hard for me to just do that. Wow. That's hard. No, I usually have to collaborate, because people they'll think they know exactly what it is that I'm supposed to do, and I don't feel the same. So that's the one place. It's weird for me to be behind the mic, and if someone's trying to produce me, and it's hard for me to. That's a rough one. I did that with a couple people, and I got through it.
You said I got through
It was difficult.
Have you ever felt like you wanted to experiment and like, let me try this different, sound? And
Yeah, through the years I've done different things. It was different when I worked with Pharrell. That was when we did what song did we do? I lost my song. We did a song. I'm spacing all together.
what was the song with the Neptunes? Hold on.
Yeah, see, y'all know it either. So
Get the name of the song.
There she goes.
There she goes.
There she goes.
There she goes.
That was a different experience for me to work with Pharrell. I enjoyed it because I was able to see how Pharrell worked and how he and I was surprised because he was doing everything all on this one little keyboard. I said, "You created all this with that?" It was amazing just to kind of see everybody's work ethic and how they put things together, and I knew at that particular point, that was way back in the day, and I knew at that point that Pharrell was going to just be, he was just going to blow up. He's going to be amazing.
Think about it. Steve Lacy, when he was doing music early on, he was doing everything on his iPhone.
Yeah.
And with plugins and everything. Have you done things like that with technology? Or are you more like, I got to be in the studio and do it the way?
No, I believe in that. I believe that, whatever inspires you and how you get it done, that's it. So I think it can come from anywhere, anything. And that's inspiring to me to know that he could do that. And
but for you personally,
me personally, do I mess around with?
Yeah, like have you tried some of those?
Babyface ain't. He
The iPhone.
Say, you never know.
I would. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I'm not. I haven't yet.
Okay, because like an app like that endorsed by Babyface that you really use, that could go crazy. I'm just saying.
Babyface, like, cut me a check, and then we could talk about it.
No, I'm just thinking about it. All right. Well, you do have the guitar here. So.
Yeah, you do have a guitar here. It's Monday morning. People would, people are driving to work. They're stuck in the office. I think it's only right we should give them a little something.
A little something. We don't want you to have this here, I was excited. I was like,
I don't know why,
give us something special.
I was gonna play it, but I don't think you want me to play it. All I know is old McDonald had a farm.
No.
Yeah.
You
That's
know
all
that?
I got.
What am I doing? And what time is it in the morning?
It's about 7:30 a.m.
Yeah, this is not, morning voice. It's not the easy one. When can my heart beat again? When does the pain never end? And when do the tears stop running over? When does you get over it begin? Please hear them say, leaving it if it's not making sense. So when can I see you again? When can I see you again? And when can my heart beat again? Yeah. When can I see you again? Yeah. And when can I breathe once again? Yeah, yeah. And when can I see you again? Thank you. That's it.
Yay! That was amazing. That usually costs millions of dollars to get something like that.
Is that
so
what?
that's
Yeah,
our gift
that's what that is.
to all of our listeners. That was definitely amazing.
I know this might be a stretch.
No.
All right.
Just tell them no already.
But me and Yee will help you with this one.
No.
Can we just do Can We Talk just one good time? We'll help him sing it.
Let's see if I can remember it. I usually play on the keyboard. Hold on.
Here we go.
Can we talk? That's really high. 1, 2. Can we talk? A little higher. Can we two.
You want me to do that part?
Yeah, you should be saying.
Here we go.
1, 2. Can we talk for a minute?
I'm on the next album.
Want to know your name.
Can we talk?
This Envy's dream come true.
Girl, I want to know your name.
Okay, we're gonna have to work a little bit on that.
This was Envy's dream come true, by the way. I just want to say.
We can fix that. We can fix that.
And look, congratulations on having
That
a
can be
number
done.
1 single from off the album, LMA, Keep On
Thank you,
Falling.
thank
The
you.
video starring Tiffany Haddish. It looks like a Bridgerton theme.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Right now. Is
That was
that
fun.
what you
The
want to play?
situation.
That was fun.
What do you want to play from the album? Hold on. Let's think about this. Okay.
Let's see. We could. What would you heard it? What would you like to play?
Oh man, let's see what song. You know what? We talked about the song with Baby Tate.
Yeah.
So let's do that one.
Okay.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah,
Don't even think
Let's
about
do it.
All right, it's Babyface, the icon, the legend. It's the Breakfast Club. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.